Be honest with me, are you tired of reading books and forgetting everything a week later? Or maybe you've even tried speed reading, but you feel like you're not truly absorbing the content. In this video, I'm going to share the ultimate guide to reading smarter, not harder, covering proven methods like SQ3R, active reading, speed reading, and much more, so that you have a clear resource, one video where you can get all the fundamental concepts about reading in one place. Hi, my name is Ruben Rivers, and welcome to my channel where we break down the best strategies for mastering different aspects of personal development, learning, and personal growth. Today, I want to show you how to read better, how to take your reading skills to a higher level. By the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to retain more of what you read faster, and at the end of the day, get more out of what you consume. SQ3R method, the foundation of effective reading. First, let's talk about the SQ3R method, a step-by-step approach to reading that allows you to retain a lot more. And this is really useful in an academic setting. When you're sitting down, you're reading a thick text and you want to dissect it and get as much out of it as possible. S, survey the material. So this is essentially the stage where we skim through headings, subheadings, and maybe even look at a summary in order to get an overview and get familiarized with the most important concepts in the reading. Q, question. And this is where we can apply active recall as well, which I have a video on if you want to know more about the topic. We basically need to ask ourselves what we want to learn from the text. What ideas are we looking for? Why are we reading this? What are the key concepts here that we need to hold on to? And then we have R1, which is reading and focusing on understanding and not just rushing through. We're really trying to absorb the concepts and absorb the information so that when we get to R2, we can recite. We want to summarize these key points, applying active recall, not looking at the text, but rather trying to remember what we read, extract those ideas without looking at any sort of external support, and put them in our own words. R3 is review. Going back and reinforcing what we've learned. This method is really closely aligned with spaced repetition, which is simply where over extended periods of time, you gradually review the material. So you read a text, you review it a day later, and then 3 days later, a week later, and 2 weeks later, etc. And each time you do this using active recall. So you're trying to review the concepts without looking at your notes or any sort of external support. And then you go back, you verify your answers, and you see what you've missed. Active reading, engage with the text. Next up is active reading. This means you're not just reading passively, but you're also interacting with the material. This includes highlighting key points, not overdoing it, but just marking the really key concepts that you want to hold on to. This could include writing notes in the margins or on a separate notebook to summarize and question what you've read, and even just asking yourself. And again, this is closely aligned with some of the principles of SQ3R, but asking ourselves questions. How does this connect with what I already know? At the end of the day, we want to make the material stick by processing it on a deeper level. And active reading allows us to do that. Speed reading, how and when to use it. Speed reading is about reading faster without losing comprehension. But let's be real, speed reading doesn't work for everything. Use it for skimming light materials like blogs, news articles, or when you need to find specific information quickly. Techniques include using your finger or a pen to guide your eyes, expanding your peripheral vision to take in more words at once, and avoiding subvocalization, or this idea of reading every word in your head. You want to practice these methods to boost your reading speed while staying efficient. How to read a book. Deep reading for mastery. Now, I couldn't make a video on this topic without talking about this timeless classic, How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. This book outlines how to approach reading at different levels. We have the elementary level, where we understand the basics of the text, literally just understanding the words, essentially. We have the inspectional reading level, which is skimming to get the bigger picture. And then we have the third level, analytical reading, breaking down the arguments, ideas, their connections, and basically getting a really deep understanding of the text. And then we have syntopical reading, or comparing ideas across multiple books. This approach is key for deep learning and mastering complex topics, as it allows you to identify core concepts being repeated over and over again in different texts, combining techniques for maximum results. Now, you might have already noticed that a lot of the methods that we just talked about had a lot of really similar ideas that seem to overlap with each other. And this is precisely where the magic is. By combining these methods, which already overlap with each other, we're able to maximize our results. So for example, if you're reading a textbook, you can use the SQ3R method and active reading. Or for general knowledge, you can use speed reading and analytical reading. And maybe for deep mastery of a topic, you dive into syntopical reading and connecting concepts across books. At the end of the day, the key is flexibility, or in other words, not just sticking to one method for everything, but rather adopting different methods depending on the situation. So, to sum it all up, use the SQ3R method to break down and retain what you've read. Engage with text actively by highlighting, taking notes, and asking questions. Practice speed reading for light materials and quick skimming in order to quickly identify essential information. Apply the lessons from how to read a book. Combine these methods based on your goals and the type of material. And doing this, you will have a powerful reading tool belt. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe for more strategies on learning and personal growth. Please let me know in the comments, what's your favorite reading technique? Thanks for your time, and take care.